Good morning, inspired illuminators. It is me, Jennifer Engel, your highest possibility state subconscious coach. And I wasn't going to do a jaunt with Jen today. And sorry if I cough every once in a while. My voice doesn't sound as normal or natural. You know, just when I start getting over an infection, I get a summer cold, so there you go. Can't seem to catch a break this summer. But I'm still moving forward. I'm still taking my walks. Just keep doing what you gotta do. And today, my quote is, things aren't always what they seem. That's why we have to constantly reflect and ask questions. So I also posted a quote a couple days ago about how some people say there's an 8-8 Lionsgate energy system that opens up. And whether you believe in the numbers or simply start looking at nature. Now, I am not into astrology, to be honest. You know, sometimes I think it's interesting to know your sign or whatever, but I don't know about Mercury in retrograde or anything like that. I do pay attention to the seasonal patterns, to the moon pattern, but that's about it. The other thing I pay attention to is patterns around me. I was a sick only child, and so I think that gave me a lot more time than the average person to reflect inwardly, outwardly. When I'm in a room, most people think I'm pretty quiet when I'm around them, especially if I don't know them or feel as comfortable around them. The people I do feel comfortable around, they're like, really, you're quiet? Because the people I am comfortable around, I can chit-chat away. But, so I wanted to kind of explain my quote today and kind of relate it to the quote that I came up with a couple days ago about how there is this energy system that seems to be opening up, and we might be in it until about December or so, and then we'll start to get back out of it late December, early January. This is a pattern that I and others have recognized for a long time. How much the pattern affects you depends upon how much positivity or negativity, how much pleasure or displeasure you get from life. If you have a lot of negativity and a lot of displeasure, this energy system might hit you hard. And if you have just a few little annoyances, then this energy system is simply going to be like a gnat buzzing around your head. And even within this energy system, from about now until about January, there's going to be waves. It's not going to be a total down day. And one of the things that I found is that when we are in a down day, there are clues. Okay? And this is what I mean by things are not always what they seem. Now, I've been really contemplating and thinking about, and before I get into that, for those of you who don't know me, my belief is that we create our own reality. But my belief is we also live in the juxtaposition, meaning two seemingly opposite things can happen in the same place and space without necessarily contradicting each other, but actually complementing one another. So I do believe we create our own reality within like 6 feet of us. I believe that we co-create our realities together as those 6 feet bubbles merge, go apart, morph with other energy bubbles, so on and so forth. That's how I kind of see us, like little energy bubbles. Some bubbles come together and form bigger energy bubbles. They pull apart, they morph with others, so on and so forth. But I've also been thinking, other than this physical world that we can see and interact with, what the universe has been kind of talking to me about is like maybe multi-dimensional reality, which it's been talking to me about that for a long time. You start with the basics. What are the different dimensions and so on and so forth. But every time it kind of talks to you about it, it kind of clarifies or solidifies information that you might have kind of understand on a conceptual level, but you didn't really understand on a real, concrete, tangible level. And one of the things it's been teaching me is this concept that there are other dimensions. And the way that it's been teaching me is trees and plants within my own home. Not trees in my own home. Trees when I'm out for my walk, and plants when I'm in my own home. So, trees, plants, they don't have eyes, they don't have ears. Okay? But they can feel, they can sense. So, they can't see us, they can't hear us, but if a bird lands on its branches, they can feel it. If the leaves get ripped off because the child's walking by, they can feel it. If there are bugs within its system and it knows it's dying, it can feel it. It will literally send off other sprouts so that its line can continue to live. I learned that oak trees, they don't actually all shed acorns at the same time. They have a root because it takes a lot of energy out of the oak tree to actually produce all those acorns. And so they take turns and they communicate through their root system who's going to create the acorns that year. So they're a lot more intelligent than we give them credit for. Plants in my own home, they can't see me, they can't hear me, but if I put a speaker next to them, they can feel the vibration of the music. If I water them or don't water them, they feel the consequence or reward of my action. And on one hand, I believe that I create my own reality, but on the other hand, I will experience moments, let's say like today, where it's like, I'm not creating this shit, you know? And so, I believe both are possible. The thing that makes sense to me is, on one hand, I am creating my own reality within my 6-foot bubble or whatever in general. But at the same time, because we live in a co-creational world with many multidimensional beings, there could be some sort of being or power or force or whatever outside of me that is kind of creating energetic conditions that affect me internally. But I'm also an observer, and I have come to see consistent patterns during this time, and what, I don't know what you want to call them, I don't know if they're guides or what, I just say the universe. What the universe taught me is during these times, if you can see them for what they are, it gives you a lot more hope. If you don't know what they are, you just kind of sit in despair. So my goal today is to kind of teach you to recognize the signs of when these energetic patterns might come up and when you might want to do some inner reflection. Because there's a purpose to these patterns, okay? The purpose of these patterns is to teach us what is no longer serving our highest good, so that we have the opportunity, this is a free will planet or whatever, and so we have the opportunity to choose if we want to tune up or fix the pattern. And what's interesting is I watched, and I've been thinking about this myself anyway, Gregg, Braden, if I can remember, I'll put his video link below. Scientists are starting to see this mathematically. Worlds repeat patterns. And so if you can see the pattern, and it's kind of like Crispr. If you don't know what Crispr is, maybe I'll try to find a video and put it in the link below as well. But basically, even our DNA is just a pattern. And if you can find the note that is out of harmony within the pattern, if you can kind of see it like a musical song, and just part of it is out of tune, what you're doing is you're tuning up the pattern, the song, so that when it begins to repeat itself, it plays out beautifully, and then you'll continue to experience the benefits of the in-tune pattern. But if you don't know that your pattern's out of tune, how do you know to tune it up? So that's what I'm here to kind of teach you. Okay? Okay. So today my quote was, things aren't always what they seem. So I have picked up on patterns. Only those who are really close to me. I think this is the first time that I've actually kind of really talked about this publicly. I will pick up on, I'll call it, the trickster energy is out today. I'll be like, we're kind of in the doldrum energy today. And that's what I'm feeling today. So this energy report is really specific. To be honest, I think I even have to look at what day it is. Isn't that beautiful? Like when you're a teacher on summer vacation, you don't really you don't really know what the day is. All right, so this is for August 3rd, 2021 in Illinois. Now, I say that this is for August 3rd, 2021 in Illinois, but what you're really going to find is no matter where you are in the world, what year it is, what time of year it is, the pattern will still be the same. So if you know about the pattern and then it happens, no matter where you are in the world, you can say, this part of the pattern is happening. Okay? All right. So, a couple things I've noticed, and granted, this is just Jenny's point of view. I'm not trying to convince anyone to believe like me. I'm simply sharing my experiences. so that I don't die with the music inside of me, so that I, even if anything, it might be like, wow, that's an interesting way to see the world, whether you agree with it or not, or experience it that way or not, and to hopefully help someone. All right, so the pattern that I'm picking up on, and that I have picked up on before, I'm calling it the Doldrum Pattern right now. Right now where I am, first of all, it even begins before I wake up in the morning. I generally start to have a nightmare or an unpleasant dream. So that's pattern number one, when I start having nightmares or unpleasant dreams. Pattern number two, or the thing that you can pick up on, is no wind. There's no wind right now. And I want you to think about a pond or a river, or a pond. Let's start with a pond, because a river actually flows. So a pond. Or if anyone has ever had a fish tank before, you'll know that if there's no air being pumped into the system, if there's no flow, that is the moment when creepy crawlies, algae, whatever, can come into the system and suffocate it. Another thing that I've noticed similar is like bread in a bag. When food doesn't have access to air, now granted, if it's bread, it's going to get hard, but if it has access to air, and even if it hardens up, it'll stay good for almost forever. But if it doesn't have access to air, and it's trapped inside this bag, like us, it suffocates. It gets moldy. The creepy crawlies come in. So one pattern I found is no air. That kind of allows, if you think about it, another way you can look at it is if there's no wind, it's easier for the gnats and bugs to like fly around you because there's no wind pushing them off course. Now, what is algae? What is mold? What is the gnats and the mosquitoes and the whatever in our real world? Well, not our real world, sorry, our subconscious world. In our subconscious world, it's our fear, it's our guilt, it's our insecurity, it's our anger, it's our hurt, it's our sadness, it's our depression. And so during the doldrums, when there are no wind systems, there could be an energy system that brings up within you, that allows to come within you these things that don't serve your highest purpose anymore. And the purpose of that is to give you the opportunity to tune it up if you so choose to. But if you don't know that's the purpose, then what you might be most likely to do is just sit in the disharmony, and you might even be inclined to say, see, I deserve to sit here. Or you might ask, why do I have to sit in this? Well, now you know the answer. You don't have to. It's a choice. And so again, I've posted this video so many times, but I'm telling you, it really, really helps. When these times come up, this is why I kind of created the matrix in my book, Highest Possibility States. It's just a moment. And if you know it's just a moment and where you are in your subconscious, then you can plot in a different point, like a GPS, and get to a better place. So you may begin to experience today, if you're in Illinois, some things that feel uncomfortable. Ask, what are you trying to teach me? And you probably don't even need to ask, because whatever it is the opposite of what you're feeling is what you want to be, right? So if you're afraid, you want to feel courage. And so you ask, how do I move from here to there? Right? You're afraid to do something. And so courage is developed not because you have it, but because you develop it. So if you are afraid to do something, you do it anyway. And you keep taking steps toward what you're afraid of. That's how you get courage. And then you do it again and again and again whenever a fear comes up. Guilt. You want to feel acceptance. You want to feel like relief or whatever, right? So how do you feel relief? You walk right toward the thing that makes you feel guilty. And then with any of these, whether it's fear, whether it's guilt, whether it's insecurity, I still have my 3 questions that I tell people to ask. Actually ends up becoming 6 questions, because there's like a set of 3 and then a set of 3 or 4. I don't know. Anyway, how does this, whatever's making you feel afraid, whatever's making you feel guilt, whatever's making you feel insecure, whatever's making you feel angry, whatever's making you feel depressed, right? Well, obviously you know how it makes you feel, okay? If it's negative, well, boom, 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 there's your answer, right? How is it making me feel in the moment? How is it making me feel over time? Is it making me more dysfunctional, less dysfunctional? Is it giving me more or less energy? Chances are, if you're experiencing the fear, the guilt, the insecurity, fill in your own blank, the answer to all those questions is less functional, not happy, not energetic, okay? Now, then you move into the next set of questions. The next set of questions is, do I need a timeout? Do I need to take a step back from what's causing these things and evaluate it, give it a little bit more time to evaluate it? Do I need to tune it up? Is it just a small annoyance like a gnat? And if I do something differently, it will fix the situation. Or is it, something bigger so that you need outside help? That's what I call an overhaul. Okay, this is where we call in the doctors. This is where we call in the physical trainers, the nutritionists, the counselors, the psychiatrists, fill in the blank, okay? Or the third question is, maybe it's the 4th question at this time. I'm not always the best at math. But then the next one is, do I need a trade-in? Is this thing that's causing fear, guilt, insecurity, anger, jealousy, fill in the blank, more like making me super dysfunctional, making me so depressed over time that I need to stop it and I need to trade it in for something else? Okay? So the point is, things aren't always what they seem. We may have these doldrum moments, these no-wind moments that allow the creepy crawlies to come in, the algae, the mold, the whatever, the bugs, not to punish us, not to say, you're so bad, this is what you deserve, but as an opportunity to tune it up and to change it, okay? And if you know it's an opportunity and not a punishment, it doesn't necessarily always make it easier, like physically, but it does, I think, mentally and emotionally make it easier because you know it's an opportunity. It's not a punishment. And even though it's still going to be a little difficult at times, it gives you hope that you can change it, that you don't have to stay there. And when you can see it and understand it that way, it just makes things so much easier. So that's what I meant by things are not always what they seem. We may experience what I call these Doldrum moments. We may start having nightmares. We might start getting physically ill. Like I swear I couldn't get a break this summer from feeling ill. But they're opportunities to learn lessons. Okay? They're opportunities to tune yourself up. And if you do that, you will reap the rewards of the tune. You'll feel a whole lot better. And unfortunately, if you don't see it as an opportunity and you don't know it's a chance to tune things up, you're gonna sit in the shit a little bit until that light bulb finally goes off. Oh wait, you mean I don't have to sit here? You mean there are things I can do? Huh. And I will tell you, the amount of work that it will take is the amount of work that things are out of tune. So some people in this world might not have an out of tune existence. Their existence might be pretty harmonious right now. And so they're not going to experience these patterns. And then some people, they just have a couple gnats flying around their head. And so it's going to be pretty easy to tune them up. Some people have, kind of like a little bit of a car crash, but their car is not totaled. So it's going to take an overhaul. They're going to take it to the auto shop. It's going to take a while to get fixed, but it will be fixed. And then some people are experiencing, they've been in this disharmony for years, and it is so deeply rooted within our mind. Because these disharmonies or harmony, either way, it's literally a pattern in your brain and body. And it's just like walking in the woods. You either keep walking down the path of dysfunction and negative thought and all that other stuff, and you keep ingraining that path literally within your mind and your body. They're finding that there are neurons not just in our mind, but within our gut and in our heart. Okay, neurons are a memory. And it's not a one and done deal. It's taken me 8 years or a lifetime to rewire some of the negative thought patterns in my own head. Okay? But what I can tell you is every time you make the choice to tune things up, to change the pattern even just a little bit, over time, it becomes less and less work. Okay? So when we have these things where we're starting to experience nightmares, where there's no wind, where negative thought patterns might be coming up, it's not a punishment, it's an opportunity. Okay? And so, you say, okay, what is this opportunity here to teach me? The opposite of whatever you're feeling. How do you move to the opposite of what you're feeling? You go ahead and you start heading there anyway. Even if you are scared, even if you do feel guilty. You're kind of asking yourself questions. How is this situation making me feel in the moment and over time? Is it making me more or less functional? Is it giving me more or less energy? You know, what is the strength of this feeling and experience? You know, do I need a timeout to just evaluate that? Do I need a tune-up because it's just like gnats flying around my head? Do I need an overhaul and call in some people to help me? Or do I need a trade-in and do something totally different and then ask myself my questions about that and reevaluate after 5 to 6 weeks? Okay? So things aren't always what they seem. You know, I thought about that because it was like, why am I having nightmares? You know, even people who are on a good spiritual path can get a little conceited and egotistical, even me. And I consider myself pretty humble. Like, I feel like life has really humbled me. But sometimes I can be like, well, I'm on this spiritual path. I should be having nightmares. I should be having blissful dreams. And then the universe laughs at me. Okay? So, things aren't always what they seem. You have to do that constant inner reflection and questioning in order to figure out what it really is, so that you can turn it into what you would like it to be instead. I hope this has helped someone today, so that you can use your own questioning, your own inner reflection, your own observations about the patterns of the world to first help yourself and then help those around you. Because now, more than ever, the world really needs people to question and reflect upon it. And it needs you. Peace and blessings.